Okay. Keep typing it. What you learned last week at retirement will be faced with loneliness, pandemic. I learned that the right time to start planning for retirement is now. Loneliness, pandemic. Only early preparation can handle loneliness, pandemic. Start planning for retirement at the earlier the better. The best time to start planning for retirement is the earlier the better. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy we are following. So today we are going to quickly move into the 5 stages of retirement. And I want everybody to be attentive. I want you also to type it for me in the chat box. The stages, 5 stages of retirement. That's what we'll be talking about today. And this is standard. However, some of us can redefine these stages. Like part of the essence of this training is to help you redefine these 5 phases. This is what commonly many people go through at retirement. The 5 stages, almost everyone goes through. Is to not let you go through these 5 stages the way it is enumerated and the way we are going to have it discussed here this afternoon. But more these 5 stages, okay? The journey to retirement or retirement follows emotional patterns. You know, just like remember of us, our first school, the story is always very your first day in school. If I ask every one of us to tell our first day we left our parents to, you know, probably some of us had our boarding house experience first in the primary school, strange. School, while for some of us, our first university. So same way, most people, however, they are a very rare. You know, I saw a lot of people. Mother was crying, father was crying, the child that was brought to school was, you know. But you know what? When I was dropped at the gate of my school, I carried my portmanteau on my head. I ran to the for the first time was so exciting that I didn't even remember somebody brought me to the gate of the school. You know, I just left him there, carried my box, ran, changed to my house uniform, and you know, but this is very rare. People, why? Cases, but most people go through similar experiences. And so today we'll be discussing that common stages or those common stages at retirement. And start with stage 1 is pre-retirement. A few years before you retire, some few months before people starting from work, getting distracted from work, you know, the thought of retirement coming is overwhelmed. You know, if any one of us here is what I'm talking about, what normally really excites you, you know, you keep looking forward every day that, you know, knowing fully well that very soon the employer to just a lot of things are bothering the mind. There is possibility of so much emotional instability, imbalance, you know, and many times you think you are to work, but really your mind is far from work. A lot of the things that the preparation or lack of preparation that had happened in the last 20, 15, 30 years of your work And so you start thinking about how you will survive, how you will sustain retirement. You know, it's a period of really evaluation and reevaluation. It's a period of emotional instability, the how will it be, the how will it be thoughts we keep slapping back or at us. For people, a few rare cases, a few set of people who have really fully uh, planned retirement will be full of excitement. For them, it will be an exciting moment. Oh, I can't wait to drop the last signature. I can't wait to drop my pen. I can't wait for that day when I'll be, when my colleagues will bid me bye-bye. There's an excitement, but this is just for a very few set of people. For most people, it's a lot of emotional trauma, instability, balance, thoughts, different kind of thoughts, loss of concentration, just thinking, am I going to be able to cope? All of those, will I, how will I? Those questions will keep coming back at us at the retirement stage. Now, the second stage is the stage I call the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage in retirement can also come in two different ways. But most times, the day finally arrive, the sense of freedom, the sense of I don't have to wake up early again, the sense of, a lot of things, this is the honeymoon stage where, that it might be good, it might be not too good, but anyhow, you have some money in your hand. And so you really are excited at this stage. You are really very excited. The feeling of excitement, yes, liberation has come, freedom, relief from stress. I don't have to wake up early. I don't have to drive all the distance, all of that. To reconnect back to your friends, some to relocate back to the village, to relocate back to where you always have to be. Maybe work has taken you, to a different area than you really intend to live or will have to live. Now, this is the time to now start planning and relocating back to where you will have loved to be. That's the time when you now begin to refine your hobbies. You now begin to reconnect back to your hobbies. Many of us have hobbies that we have not visited in a very many years, because of our late weekend. You have to just fix a few things that you can and take some rest before Monday. This is now the time to begin to relocate your hobby, to begin to find passion back to what you used to love to do. And but this feeling of freedom is always very exciting, this stage that I call the honeymoon stage. It's just like the marriage honeymoon. It's just something you will definitely come, and now it has come. And the first excitement at yes, benefits will really excite you, and you will really be excited about it. And then especially relief from stress, relief from waking up early, relief from having to, some of us have worked in places that we really don't get excited about, but we don't have a choice because at least it puts food on our table. So now, wow, you are relieved from seeing that boss again, that very that boss that can really make life very unbearable for you. No, wow, you're not going to be seeing him again. You're not going to be waking up and bumping. For those of us who are not very highly placed at work, you don't have to start to anybody again. You're just on your own. So this is called, or I call it, the honeymoon phase. Let's move to the next. Are we following? Let me hear from you in the chat room. From you in the chat room. The third one is called the disenchantment stage. Now, the excitement of the honeymoon stage now begins to win out, begins to reality. The emotional high period is now wearing off. The honeymoon phase is over. People that you will knock on their door, they will open their doors to you, may now not really, you might have become a broken record. And so, you now enter phase I call enchantment phase. This is the phase family that was excited for 1 to 3 months that he just came. Everyone was excited. Now you are now facing, this is what I call the reality phase. There you now be able to identify your true friends who will never be seeing you. You now see the true personality in people who only were indulging you, who only were managing with you in the period of different kinds of people. And you now begin to discover that most likely retirement is not as exciting as you thought it was going to be, and you now start feeling loneliness. Don't forget, the loneliness pandemic will start setting in. You start feeling bored because you are doing the same activities over time. You're now feeling that, the essence of this retirement is actually not as exciting as you thought it was going to be. So this is that phase that you call, that I call the disenchantment phase, and I call it reality. This is reality. Many times the things we see are not actually reality until we have sustained them. Now, when they are not sustainable, then you discover that is really not the reality. Now, this is the reality. Now you are really facing retirement. The initial excitement now had gone out. The initial excitement of people seeing you, having you around them is now gone. Now the reality now setting, loneliness now setting. You are now bored about doing the same activity all over. You are now not as physically engaged as you used to be. I'm going to clean the board now so that I can have more space to write. Stage 4 is called the reorientation phase. The orientation stage. This is where really you actually begin to adapt to the reality. Adaptation to reality. This is the phase where you now begin to adapt to reality, where you begin to now discover that life is not really going to be as engaging, and where you now begin to know that the only engagement that you can really trust is the engagement you can engage yourself. The only engagement that you can really count on is the previous phases. You may be counting on family. Will always be around my friends. Will always be around me. I will always, I'm not going to be bored sleeping for 8 hours, 12 hours in the day. But at this stage, when reality now dawns on you, you now need a reorientation to adapt to the reality. You need to now begin to find your foot, make yourself your best friend, make the few people around you your best friend. But at this point, you now have to find what appeals to you that can really truly engage you. This is the stage where you'd have to properly define what retirement will look out for you. This is the time to begin to try new things. Because at the point of trying to find what can engage you, you may not have them enough among the things that you have always done. So you may need to start to find new things, to try new things, try new hobbies, try new activities, learn. And even at this stage, some retirees, even at this point, learn new skills. Learning new skills, but these skills that has been learned at this stage is not to make money, it's just to engage life, it's to engage time, so the people go even if that's why we enjoy knitting. They enjoy knitting and weaving clothes, cardigans. Many times it's not because they had always known how to do it. They just had to pick it up at some point just to engage their time, because they are now living like they are at retirement. And because of that, they have to learn new things, new hobbies, new activities, including learning new skills. Because now there's no full-time job, there are no children around you to wake up and take care of. Most of the time at retirement, they have also gone out there, either also graduated and working, either they now are in the university, so you are not have them always around you. So it can be very hard. It can be very difficult to engage yourself for 24 hours. And so at this point, you see even a few people begin to pursue passions and volunteering, looking after grandchildren, as just finding how to make life fun. Because at that point, you discover that fun does not just come as it used to be at some earlier age. You need to get yourself to do what you love to do. That is the stage I call the reorientation stage. The reorientation stage where you begin to now find who you are, refine and redefine purpose, find what you love to do, find the things that, make life very exciting for you. They might not be the same thing that used to make life exciting for you in your active years. Which I call, let me clean this board here. The last phase is called the stability phase. And I call it stability, instability stage. At this stage, whether you like it or not, whether you enjoy it or not, you just settle into the reality that retirement has come. At this stage, you now start getting content with what you have. You start feeling positive and happy, because the truth is that this is just what you have now. So that's the final stage of retirement, and you just settle in for life. You just settle into what has come to you. You just settle into the reality that life is going to run like this. So at this point, you settle into new routine, new lifestyle. You now begin to find what is. At this stage, you are no more treating because you have tried and you have picked a few ones of them that seems to align with your love, align with your passion, align with your post, and then you now have what I call a new identity. At this point, you are no more struggling with retirement or with the fact that you are a retiree or you are retired. You now have a new identity. You now practically just love what you have because you actually don't have a choice anymore. And you have settled into that fact that you don't have a choice. Ladies and gentlemen, so what come and what the stages you will experience at retirement. I want us to recap it while each and every one of us give me those 5 stages at retirement, and the ones that I also call something else, just also identify. Quickly, let's do that. Number 1 stage, number 2 stage, 3 stage 3, stage 4, and stage 5. So can I have somebody in the chat box? Okay. Fastest fingers, please. Fastest fingers. The stage 1 is called what? Let a little flow. Okay, stage is pre-retirement. Stage 2 is called what? Only one person is typing 2. Stage 2 is called what? Honeymoon. Disenchantment. Stage 4 is called what? Reorientation state. The orientation one after the other, not together. Yeah, thank you. So, and the stage 5 is reorientation or pre-orientation, reorientation. Then stage 5 is what? Stability stage. I call it stability because a few people at this point refuse to accept retirement, and many people, even to some extreme, lose their lives. Okay? At the fact, most people, listen, most people can lose their life or at any of these 3 phases below after the honeymoon. Many people, because they can't just see themselves coping with retirement, and before you know it, there could be different complications at any of these stages. There could be so much complications, sicknesses, boredom, what do you call it? And ultimately, these 3 stages can be. But for those who are able to do a proper reorientation, you see that life just gets good for them. And so I'm going to take a few more minutes to explain what I expect you to do to be very stable at retirement. Number 1, retirement stage. You know what this means? Start pre-retirement planning. The earlier, the better. Let me put it here. The earlier, the better. So let's move that here. Retirement planning should be done at the earliest. So if this retirement stage, for example, for somebody starts at the age of 35, start at the age of 30, then you have like 10 years, 20 years to start thinking and seriously planning every aspect of retirement. You discover that your early planning of retirement can make honeymoon to last forever. Do you hear what I said? And I want to get it in the chat box. Early retirement planning can make you enjoy retirement honeymoon forever. You know, that you are excited with retirement, excited at retirement. All of the retirement years can happen only when you start planning retirement. In the chat box, you can have a total retirement life honeymoon. And the only way that can happen is how early you start to plan. How early you start to say early retirement plan makes you enjoy honeymoon forever. Retirement honeymoon. Early plan of retirement makes you to enjoy your retirement honeymoon. Yeah, it's important to say retirement honeymoon because there are so many aspects of honeymoon in life, marriage, honeymoon, etc. So even a new job has its honeymoon period. But when you start planning retirement early, it could make you enjoy retirement honeymoon forever. So what you are doing is, you know, if you start retirement planning early, you discover that even from this honeymoon stage, you never get disenchanted. So you don't, people are, but you don't understand what they mean because retirement has not been boring for you. Then all the time they are taking to do the orientation, you have already properly oriented yourself even before retirement came. And so you just enjoy honeymoon and stability. That's all you will know at retirement. Honeymoon and stability. All of these inner stages of disenchantment and reorientation, you will not need to have them. Ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself, how will life be for you at retirement? I want you to drop it for me in the chat box. How will life be for you at retirement if you find yourself planning retirement? 30 years you are planning retirement. 30 years you are planning retirement. You have been in retirement preparation and planning 20 years before your retirement. So you just enter into honeymoon and everything just gets stable, everything just runs because you had envisaged, you had planned, you had you have gone through proper orientation, just as we are doing now. And you just cover that retirement can also last all retirement years. Okay, so how will you feel if you have this kind of phase where you are not struggling with your emotions at retirement, you are not struggling with your purpose at retirement, you are not struggling with boredom at retirement? That is money. You are not struggling with money at retirement. How will I be? You know, and that will take us into the topic for next week. Oh, I enjoy honeymoon and lifetime stability. Beautiful stability And okay, no, I'm only getting comments from about 3 people in the room, and we have 20 people here. Honeymoon and stability. How will it feel if you enjoy this for all your aged years? You know, at 80, you are enjoying retirement honeymoon. Early preparation is the best, but when you didn't do this and you have about 3 years to retirement, what's the best approach to still have a better retirement? Okay, I'm going to take your question. I want everyone to make a comment how you will feel having running your age 55, maybe when you plan to retire 55, up to 90, 100, enjoying stability and honeymoon at retirement. Everyone, drop your comments. Then I will talk. Will be a wow experience, will be great. Everybody drop your comments. Wow. I already want to have a stable business at that stage. Life will be a roller coaster. It will be a great experience. Okay. Thank you. I will enjoy peace of mind and ease, stress-free to have. That's what we hope for. That's what we pray for. That's what we look forward to. Now, the question is, Taye is asking, I am 3 years. That's not his question, but if someone is 3 years to retirement and is just hearing this for the first time, it's just dawning on him that he needs to plan retirement. What should this? It is better late than never. It is better late than never. Enter retirement without any plan. I mean, they get into retirement without any plan. So 3 years to retirement is still better late than never. It's better late than never to have heard about this. And so I want to say this now. You really need a lot of mentoring. You need a lot of mentoring. You need what we call purpose definition. Because if you have purpose definition, it's most likely that many of these things you will have realized them. So it's most likely that then you need to set very radical goals and timelines. You know, if for those of you that have been attending my master classes and when I talk about finance, you know, sometimes I tell people the reason if I get to know this much that I've known in the last 10 years, or let's say 5 years, if I got to know them 20 years ago, I will not be as radical as I am today. I will have been getting to that point where I'm just being relaxed. Like I said, there's this book I read some years ago. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, and I told my children, when I want you It will be Rich Dad, Rich Dad. You know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a book that I always tell myself, if I read this book while I was in secondary school, if I read this book while I was in the university, I would probably have had a different kind of life. One of it is I will not have worked for anybody for more 5 years. Because when I read that book, Poor Dad, I'd already served many years, and the fear of movement and the of some actions now becomes very, 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 very clear and very strong. And so there are some things you want to do in a different way. Okay. The truth is that if I read this early, man in totality, I will have also defined how many years I want to work for a particular. Employers makes us feel that the longer you stay with an employer, the more other employers feel safe with you. Do you understand? How many of us are in that generation where thought and believe, and because of markets, the way market responded, employment market responded to us, employer, the more other employers feel comfortable with you. Okay, so wanting another employer to feel comfortable to recruit me, I stay with an employer for 20 years. Then how many more years do I have to stay with the second employer? Then the third. Okay, but today, if mobility, are you following? So you see that we have been deceived over many years, and we are seeing better now. And so if I'd actually seen all of these, I probably have treated life in a different way. What I'm trying to say is that it is not too late, even if you are here, even if you are 1 year to retirement, it is better than not thinking about it or not never to about this, and then retirement just comes. Serious mentorship, you need purpose with purpose definition, and you need to set radical goals and timelines. And I can tell you, it may not be as bad as you think. It may not be as bad as you think. And so part of what we'll be doing in our retirement club will be what I call this. I'm going to also be launching this with this retirement club. I call SOP. These are done, are documented about years now. I remember when I first dropped it on my status, a lot of people, I got a lot of comments, what is SOP? But I told them to hold on and wait for the right time. SOP is School of Purpose, because this is very key to a lot of things in our life, but it's also very key to retirement planning. Because many of us, I was with a class and I was teaching them, and I asked them, what's your career goal? And you'll be sure that people who have had 20 years experience, 15 years, never thought about their career goals. And so, as to define where they find themselves. If you have a finance, if you have a career goal, will let you know how much you can take from an employer or from an employment. But many of us swallow anything that an employer or an employment gives to us because we don't have a definition for our career goals. You understand? But if you do, there are some jobs, assignments, and some tasks that are assigned to you that you can go in 21st century HR practice. You can walk up to your HR and tell your HR, man, sir, this line of activity does not align with my career goal. I will appreciate the this assignment is reassigned. And I'm telling you, for people who really are strong on their goals, where such employer or employment refuse to reasssign for the employer. Are you following now? So this is what many of us don't do. I'm going to tell you a story, and the video was played to us in one of my. Who went to resume, and it was about 21st century. No, it was about 21st century, 20th century HR practice or something. And so this lady resumed in a new employment. And so she was to meet with her manager, who will tell her all that she needed to do. And so this lady was here with the manager and greeted the manager and the manager. And as the manager was talking, she was chatting. And, she would look up to the manager and was chatting, and after like 10 minutes we talk on the manager just busted out that he was very he didn't phone and all of that, and screamed and shouted, and he said, if this is how you treat your employees, don't think I'm ready to work for you. And she there and then said, I don't want to accept this offer again. And you know what? She looked into the manager's face and said, all the while that you were talking to me, I had taken note of everything you have said and began to read everything that you have said, and also said that while I was also taking notes, I also had to drop my final handover letter in my previous organization. So this lady had mastered the art of multitasking and very strong concentration. And this man was very surprised that she could recount every little thing that he had said and apologized, but this lady was not with them. So what am I trying to say is that we need to understand our purpose. We need to define goals for our life, our career goals, our business goals, our marital goals. And so that you can know, without goals, you won't even know when you are veering off track. Without goals, every place will look like it. Everything will look good to you. Without goals, you will not even be able to measure your life, whether you are doing well or whether you are doing very poorly. And this is what you need to be able to do. You need to know whether you are having job satisfaction and whether a job is properly aligned to your career goals. And so this is where we are going to talk. We are going to stop today. And I'm going to move and tell you what we are going to be talking about next week. Next week, still on retirement, we are going to be talking about defined ambition. This is one that many are moving into. It is called defined ambition. I will not say much about it. I know I've said some next week to hear for a very comprehensive talk on defined ambition as it relates to retirement. So thanks for coming for this meeting of the financial mentoring with YEMI Ayodele community. Our community is to raise 10,000 wealthy people in 5 years. To align with this goal is the master classes that we run every Saturday. And we are privileged to have you here today. I'm seeing a few names here that looks like they are attending for the first time. So if you are attending for the first time, just shortly me your name, your data phone number, and the network, and the name of the person that invited you. It's in my doing. So gift every first tender and a 1 gigabyte of data. So this is the first time you are in that invited you to this meeting. Thanks for coming on this meeting. Please, let's start to take action to plan our retirement so that we can have a robust and an enjoyable honeymoon in retirement. Member of this community, anyone is invited to attend our master classes, but to be a full member of the community, you need to take note of 3 things. Number 1 is that you have to make a commitment to attend all our Saturday master. Number 2, you have to also support the growth of the community by inviting people to these master classes. Number 3, you have to agree to, under my guidance, invest a minimum of 50% of your earnings, your income as you earn. If your earning is monthly, if it's weekly, if it's daily, as you earn, a minimum of 50% of it must be invested under my guidance. And so if you are that one that wants to join the, please drop the link. But please, we don't want people to join today and want to leave tomorrow. Think about it well, make up your mind that you are willing, because in the profiling of our new members, we also, some of you may think that that is overbearing, and some of you may think you like your privacy more than your growth, or what, for whatever good reasons also you want to keep that. And also some of you struggling. I know that I didn't start early. If I was starting this at 20, if I understood and know at age 20, at age 25, probably I would have mellowed down small. We don't have time to waste, so we need to put in what we need to put in now so that we can get an output that will make honeymoon very sweet for us. So if you that have thought about all of these things and you say, I am here, I am, the 2 links that have been dropped in the chat box, please, secretaries, pick the number of the person that's attending, but you didn't drop the network. For me to credit your data, I must know the network. So please redrop it and just add the network of it. If it's MTN, if it is Airtel, if it is 9 Mobile, now you cannot know because of porting. You cannot guess the network. This looks like an Airtel, but you can't guess it. So please drop it now because the meeting is going to be over now. Thank you very much for coming on this meeting. My name remains YEMI Ayodele, as it relates to retirement. Have a beautiful evening. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.